Are you a farmer? Then this is for you. Meet the Farmers Virtual Summit taking place from the 25th to the 27th of August 2020. Available on your smartphone, tablet, or computer. Meet the Farmers is a virtual summit and business matchmaking agriculture event where farmers meet their suppliers and buyers. So this is how it works. During the summit, crucial matters affecting our agricultural sector will be discussed in partnership with GRZ and key stakeholders during the plenary and parallel sessions. During the business matchmaking, the event brings farmers from all over the country to meet their suppliers and buyers. Meanwhile, the suppliers and buyers will set up their profiles online to showcase products and services they supply or buy. The farmers are then linked to their suppliers and buyers based on what they farm. They meet online using video link on a one-to-one and one-to-many basis. Register for free now to secure your place on www.meetthefarmerszm.org.
We would like to talk about cassava. Cassava has been grown over the years, and in our traditional setup in Luapula province, cassava is grown as a crop that is reliable and that is drought resistant. And for most families, they did not grow cassava as the first crop. They always grew cassava as a crop that you can rely on in case of problems with other crops. And that's why traditionally you see that cassava is grown in Luapula province at the end of the rain season or as a mixed crop with other crops. So this has been the history of cassava, because it provided, and cassava is a very important crop because it not only provide mealie meal, it was mostly grown for mealie meal, for meal, and it was also grown as a source of protein. It was also as a source of starch. It was also grown as a source of economic livelihood. So these are the major reasons why cassava was grown. Because from the cassava crop, you eat the leaves, you use the stem as seed, and you eat the tubers. The tubers, you can eat them as fresh, you can eat them raw, you can eat them as roast cassava, or you can eat them as boiled cassava. So cassava is a major crop. But until recent years, cassava was not regarded as such. It was just regarded as the by-the-way crop. But if you look at the history of Zambia, in places where cassava is grown, even when there is a drought, the hunger does not set in, because the fallback crop, cassava, is always on hand. That's why you see, until the recent floods of 2019-2020 season, there was no real noise about relief food for Luapula province, because if there's less rain, cassava will still survive and people will still feed on it. Now what has happened is, over the years, the usage of cassavas have evolved. Cassava is no longer a domestic crop. Cassava is not just a commercial crop. Cassava is now an industrial crop. What do we mean? It means that there are a lot of industrial uses for cassava. As a result, cassava has attained such levels of importance as never envisaged before. I can categorize some of the uses that cassava is being used in. One, you can use cassava for the production of ethanol. You can use cassava for the production of industrial alcohol. You can use cassava for the production of starch. You can use cassava for the production of foods. You can use cassava for the production of sanitizers, paints. Mention it. The commercialization of cassava has brought new opportunities, and it's opened new frontiers for our people and for the crop. This means that researchers are now working very hard to ensure that they develop good and better varieties. Varieties that are going to produce better yields. Varieties that are going to yield more crop. So these are new opportunities for the researchers. For the industrial sector, this is the time now when they must come on board. If indeed cassava, you can produce ethanol from cassava, what are we waiting for? I think it's an opportunity for people to come on board to start producing ethanol and industrial alcohol. Ethanol is highly required in the energy sector, because you can use ethanol to blend it with petrol to reduce the cost of petrol. You can also use ethanol to produce industrial alcohol. Industrial alcohol, like for Zambia, we import nearly 98% of all the industrial alcohol that we use in this country. In the spirit sector, they use industrial alcohol, and it's highly in demand. So that is bringing a new opportunity. It's not only in that particular sector. We also need to enhance the production of feed for animals, for livestock. We need to use cassava. Cassava is cheaper to produce. It doesn't require so much fertilizer. It doesn't need so much water. It doesn't make you panic when it doesn't rain for 2 weeks. So this is a crop for the future. This is a crop in which we must go. And with improved varieties coming on the market, our local farmers, the traditional farmers, our peasant farmers have got an opportunity when they can earn money from the cassava crop on an annual basis. If you go back into history, cassava used to mature after 3 rain seasons. That's when it used to mature. Not anymore. We've got varieties now that mature after 1 year and a half, after 12 months, after 9 months. So these are the varieties which you need to promote, so that our people can get real value for their labor, and that they need to improve on their yields. It is not on those aspects, but also what we are saying now is we've got areas in this country which are drought prone. They keep on growing maize and they don't get the yields. So why don't people diversify instead of concentrating and focusing on maize? I think time has arrived, time has come. We have reached a place where people must diversify and grow cassava. And production of cassava seeds is not so difficult, and it's not as expensive as producing maize seed or other seeds, because all you have to use are the same cassava cuttings. As you are harvesting a crop, you are also harvesting the seeds, which are the cassava cuttings. So it is a much easier crop to cultivate. It is a much more rewarding crop, and I like to believe that time has come when we in Zambia must embrace cassava crop as part and parcel of our daily lives. In the confectionery world, we can blend cassava into wheat, and it will reduce the cost of producing bread. It will not only reduce the cost of producing bread, but it also enhances its quality. As you know, cassava has got lots of fiber, more fiber than wheat, more fiber than maize, meaning that it is a much better food. It has got better nutritional values than the conventional wheat and also maize. The time for cassava is now. Let's diversify. Let's grow a crop that is full of value. Let's grow a crop for the future. We believe the cassava revolution has started. This cassava revolution is not only for those who think about cassava, who ate cassava when they were young. This cassava revolution is about people who are going to step forward and say, yes, in my 1 lima, I'm going to grow cassava this season. In my 2 lima, I'm going to grow cassava this season. In my 1 hectare, I'm going to grow cassava. Cassava is a crop for the future, for the entire country, but for those of us in Luapula province, who are the biggest producers of cassava, producing nearly 1.2 metric tons of cassava per annum, I think it is a responsibility that we double those figures. If we have to come out of poverty, if we have to to improve our living conditions and standards, I believe it is imperative and it's important that we improve on cassava production, and we increase the productivity, and we increase the area under cultivation. That way, more and more people are going to come out of poverty. That way, we are going to have the lion's share of the market available for cassava crop production. I thank you.